This from the Daily Caller. White House quietly releases plans for 3,415 regulations ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. Can you imagine? Over 3,400 regulations. When will this end? The answer is never. While Americans are focused on what delicious foods they're going to eat for Thanksgiving, the White House is focused on releasing its massive regulatory agenda, writes Michael Batash, marking the fifth time the Obama administration has released its regulatory roadmap on the eve of a major holiday. The Federal United Agenda is the Obama administration's regulatory roadmap, and it lays out thousands of regulations being finalized in the coming months. Under Obama, there has been a tradition of doing this late on Fridays. It's become an unfortunate tradition of this administration and others to drop these regulatory agendas late on a Friday right before a holiday, says Matt Schutz, executive director of the Center for Progressive Reform, told the Hill newspaper. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? This is so contrary to our constitutional construct. First of all, that the executive branch is making all these laws. These are 3,415 laws. Congress doesn't make them, no committee hearings, just the bureaucracy. That's number one. Number two, they do it in the shadows. Number three, they just, as they spring them upon us, they do it on a Friday. And number four, preferably right before or right after a holiday. Now, is this a representative republic? I thought it's supposed to be. Aren't we supposed to know what they're doing before they actually do it? I'm telling you, this is no longer a constitutional republic. It's no longer a federal republic. It's no longer a representative republic. It's a meritopia. It's not a healthy, vigorous republic any longer. And we now have our mastermind bosses, the mob in Washington, issuing laws without our knowledge, without our input, without anything. Now, White House may have good reason to do so because its unified agenda for fall 2014, 3,415 regulations, more than the last regulatory agenda, and one that includes 189 rules that cost more than $100 million. And one of the most contentious rules is the EPA's rule to limit greenhouse gas emissions. Let's stop right there. What do we mean by greenhouse gas? Is it poison? Of course it's not poison. You know, when it's really, really cold in some parts of the country, people have built what we call greenhouses. Remember that? These glass houses. They keep the moisture, keep the humidity, keep the condensation and the heat in these glass buildings, if you will, so they can grow vegetables and other plants and so forth. Greenhouses. Greenhouse gas sounds like, oh my God, greenhouse gas, what am I going to do? Well, you're going to live, because greenhouse gases include condensation and carbon dioxide. Yes, we need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide creates oxygen in plants. Plants use carbon dioxide. It's called photosynthesis. Most of us learn this in 4th or 5th grade. Apparently Obama still doesn't know it. And yes, and through that process, we get what's called oxygen. And we use oxygen to what? Live. It allows us to breathe. And then we take in the oxygen and we exhale the carbon dioxide. The plants inhale the carbon dioxide and they exhale the oxygen. Isn't God wondrous? But the environmentalists are obviously smarter. So when we talk about greenhouse gas emissions, that phrase is bizarre. So once again, the radical leftists have stolen the language and ruined it. Greenhouse gas emissions? It's also called what? The atmosphere. No, they're emissions. No, it's the atmosphere. They would regulate condensation if they could figure out how to do it. That's the biggest part of greenhouse gases. Did you know that? Condensation. You know what the smallest part of greenhouse gases are? Carbon dioxide. It's minuscule. And yet we're going to destroy our entire economy and shut down industries and drive up costs and put people out of work to try and control some fraction of a percentage of the smallest element in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, called carbon dioxide. And yet we need carbon dioxide, as I've explained before, and I wrote in Liberty and Tyranny. Imagine a stadium of 10,000 seats. That's the atmosphere. What number of seats would amount to the carbon dioxide element in the atmosphere? You've got 10,000 seats, four seats. And carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. It's never been a pollutant. It's never been considered a pollutant. But they've always wanted to regulate it because, you see, regulating, in essence, air, regulating the atmosphere gives them all kinds of power. Oh, my God, we got to reduce the carbon dioxide. Why? The worst, the earth is warming. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. And so that's how they get us by the you-know-whats. Those of us who aren't transgendering from the male act. But anyway, the country's gone to hell, but there is some humor in it, as sick as that seems. Anyway, so the environmental groups are very excited about this. They like secrecy. They like to push their red, their red agenda. The Greens with the Reds. The most fought-after rules to be finalized by the EP next year will be its redefining the waters of the United States. This is incredibly scary, and it will affect almost all of you. They're nationalizing our ponds, our streams, our lakes, our waterways, all of it. Federal lawmakers from both parties, along with companies from virtually every sector of the economy, have opposed this rule, saying it greatly expands the EPA's power to regulate even small bodies of water on private property. Small bodies of water on private property. This regulation is being pushed now, as I speak. Please pass the stuffing, would you? The waters of the U.S. rule may be one of the most significant private property grabs in U.S. history, says Louisiana Republican Senator David Vitter. They want to take another step toward outright permitting authority over virtually every wet area in the country, while at the same time providing a new tool for environmental groups to sue private property owners. That would be you. So did Congress pass this law? No. The EPA created a law? Yes. In other words, the executive branch, the president, made a law, will enforce the law, and adjudicate the law. This is what I mean. The republic is gone. If I hadn't told you about this evening, you'd still be focused on Al Sharpton, and you wouldn't know a damn thing about it, because none of this is on TV. Now, Al Sharpton will come and go. Ferguson will come and go, as sad as it is what's being done to that small town. This regulation stays. An attack on you and your fundamental liberties.